thanks for joining me today. Today it is all about sun protection factor. It's probably the most important anti-aging video I can do is sun protection factor, and those who are regular viewers of my channel know I mention it in almost every video because I'm quite obsessed about protecting my skin and your skin against sun damage. Let's talk about what sun protection factor means. Now, sun protection factor, the figure on it, be it 15 or 50, does not relate to the strength of the product. It relates to the amount of time you can stay in the sun without getting sunburned. So it's all about the burn. It's all about sunburn. It's not about strength. So with an SPF 15, you can stay 15 times longer without getting burnt. With a 50, you can stay 50 times longer. Now you know that you still have to reapply your product throughout the day and avoid the peak hours, which are between 10 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Stay with me because this is where it gets a little bit complicated. There are two types of rays in sunlight or daylight, and that is UVA and UVB. Just think of them as UV aging and UV burn. UVA rays are present all year round, even on a cloudy day, even in the middle of December or the middle of January, and you're thinking, I'm protecting myself against the cold, not against the sun, but you need to protect yourself against UVA rays all year round. UVB rays are present and strongest in the summer, but can start in early spring until late autumn. Now, these are the ones that are going to cause you sunburn. The difference between these two rays is that the UVA penetrates the skin at a deeper level and it causes premature aging, and 90% of aging that we see on the skin is as a result of UVA exposure. Now, UVA is not a primary factor in skin cancers, but it does play a role, whereas UVB, which burns the skin, is the #1 factor for getting a skin cancer. If you're looking at which sunscreen you should buy, you should take a broad spectrum sunscreen which protects you against UVA and UVB, and you'll normally see this written on the front of your sun protection. Now, you may think with an SPF 15, I'm not really well protected. No, this is not the case. An SPF 15, look at the table, SPF 15 gives you a very good sun protection factor, whereas an SPF 50 for an awful lot more chemicals doesn't give you that much more. And it is a scientific fact, the higher the SPF, the lower the UVA filters in the product. Trust me, this is absolutely true. When looking for a sunscreen, besides it being a broad spectrum, you have a choice between chemical sunscreens and physical sunscreens, which are also known as mineral sunscreens or natural sunscreens. Chemical works in the way that it allows the sun to penetrate the skin. It causes a process in the skin which breaks down the sun so you don't get sunburned or you don't get premature aging. A physical sunscreen or a mineral sunscreen bounces the sun directly back, so it doesn't have that extra process in the skin, so it's really ideal for people who've got a sensitive skin or who have lots of allergies. Another big difference between these two is that the chemical sunscreen needs 20 minutes before the process is activated in the skin, so that 20 minutes you are not protected the first 20 minutes you put it on. With the physical sunscreen, as soon as you put it on, you can go straight out there into the sun, you are immediately protected. Another difference between these two sunscreens is that the physical or mineral sunscreen is slightly more expensive, and it sometimes and very often has a different texture. It also gives a little glow to the skin, which personally I really like because it's used in a lot of tinted moisturizers. It gives a nice radiant glow to the skin. Not everybody may like that. Personally, I love it. Chemical sunscreen, on the other hand, doesn't have this. You put it on, it's pretty much invisible and you don't see it. So that's a personal choice whether you're going to take a physical sunscreen or a chemical sunscreen for these reasons. Also, physical sunscreens are a little bit more expensive. Chemical sunscreens come in two different formulations. They come in a spray or they come in a cream and also in an oil. Now, oils generally come in very low factors, so I would say preferably do not use an oil. So if you're going to use a chemical sunscreen, you have to decide, do you want something that's more moisturizing like the cream, which I love, or you can take a spray. Now, sprays contain a little bit more alcohol, so they tend to be a little bit drying, and personally I think you lose a lot of product spraying it on. It goes every place, and with the cream you can see more or less where you're putting it. No matter which sunscreen you use, you have to apply it regularly. You have to make sure you're covering every area, the neck, the shoulders, the ears, everything. These are areas that are often forgotten, particularly the ears and the back of the neck. And these are also hot spots for skin cancers. After your summer season is over, you're probably going to put your half empty sunscreen away until next year. Don't do this. The ingredients deteriorate. The product will not have the same strength in a year's time. So use them all up in one season and buy a new one the following year. Keep in mind, you can get sunburned in the summer, you can get sunburned in spring, you can get sunburned in autumn, and some of the worst sunburns I have heard about have actually been in springtime. You can also get sunburned under an umbrella at the beach. You can get sunburned in the forest. You can get sunburned any place that there is light reflection in summertime or in the springtime. I hope you learned today a lot about sunscreens, how to choose a sunscreen that's good for your skin type and for the time of year, which I explained is extremely important if we're talking from an anti-aging perspective. Next week, I'm going to be answering all your questions on sun protection, because I know there are so many questions that I haven't answered. So please post them in the comment section below and your questions will be answered next week. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.